SEBI has unearthed transactions where the listed entity transferred assets to its subsidiary. The loan obtained by the subsidiary against these assets were then used to repay the outstanding loan of a promoter-linked entity. In another instance, our investigation revealed that the company inflated its financials by entering into transactions with a number of name lending entities in a circular manner. The promoters then siphoned off shareholder funds or assets to their companies under the pretext of purchases, sales from them or to them. The proceeds from preferential allotment, which should result in cash flow to the company, may also be siphoned off. In one instance, we observed that the funds were round-tripped to the allottees itself via complex multi-layered transactions. Forged bank statements were submitted to SEBI to show receipt of funds by the company. The statutory auditor also failed to report the structured circulation of funds. The use of preferential allotment together with misleading disclosures has also been observed. Misleading disclosures are made just before the expiry of the lock-in on the shares issued under preferential allotment. This enables the preferential allottees to exit at a profit, but at the expense of innocent retail investors who believed in the disclosures. Such cases highlight, and these are egregious cases. I'm not saying that this is a generalized phenomenon. I'm just giving you the certain examples of egregious cases which have been detected, but such cases highlight that perhaps only a tick box approach is being followed by some KMPs, statutory auditors and members of the audited committee and directors on the board of listed entities towards compliance. The negative impact of such financial frauds on the securities market is tremendous. Beyond loss to the shareholder wealth, they erode investor confidence, discourage genuine investment, and directly undermine market integrity. As professionals connected with the securities market, I want you to think about the future of our markets. What change in the mindset is needed to address such egregious behavior? Which stakeholder must introspect on their role as a gatekeeper against frauds? The answers to these questions are extremely relevant as our markets grow in scale and size and number of investors increase multifold in coming years. Let me come to some of the SEBI measures. At SEBI, we have adopted a zero-tolerance approach towards financial frauds. We have employed a mix of measures ranging from regulatory interventions to enforcement actions to rein in such unethical behavior and practices. We have focused on capacity building both internally and externally. Going forward, our sustained focus will be to increase the level of investor awareness towards such frauds. I'll highlight a few regulatory interventions. 1. Related party transactions have to be approved by the audit committee, with material RPTs needing stakeholder approval as well. The minimum information required for these stakeholders to take informed decisions on RPTs has now been standardized. Supervisory technology has been developed by SEBI and the stock exchanges to generate alerts and red flags from financial and non-financial information reported by companies. Stock exchanges are also verifying the authenticity of disclosures of high-value business orders, contracts with renowned companies, etc. Queries are being raised with the counterparty to such transactions apart from verifying their actual existence. 3. It has been made easier for retail investors to vote on shareholder resolutions. The Unified Investor app offered by the depositories provides investors a single login access to e-voting with integration of recommendations of all proxy advisors. You can see it in the app, and every time a resolution is being put to vote, that you can see it in the app, and against that particular resolution you can see which of the proxy advisors and their advice, and with a simple choice you can actually just click and vote. In fact, in Mumbai, while you are traveling on your on a vehicle, you can actually do all your votings very easily while also listening to the FM radio. And I must congratulate ICAI. When I was coming to this function, I was hearing in the FM an ICAI awareness being told regarding the investor frauds. So congratulations that you are also joining in this effort of creating investor awareness. Now, another very important initiative that we have taken in SEBI, and I know you may be aware, but this is a good forum also because this is a new one and therefore you would require a lot of awareness about it. It's not really related to listed entities, but SEBI is putting in place functionalities to enable investors to conduct financial transactions with SEBI registered intermediaries through secure and verifiable channels. So you must be aware that we are creating a new subsystem under the UPI system with the help of NPCI, where we will have a specialized domain which will be called these functionalities, namely SEBI UPI at valid. So while you are saying at UPI, we will say UPI at valid. So valid is being brought in for every bank account or every channel that you use in UPI if you are transacting with securities market. So going forward, and this will be available from October 1, 2025 onwards, which means that if you are having to, anyone ask you to transfer certain funds and gives a UPI handle, you can actually check whether UPI handle has a valid into it, or if valid word is not there, it is valid.br, that means for brokers. If it is investment advisor, it is .ia. If it is, all the intermediaries, if they are maintaining the account and if you're transferring certain sum of money, you can easily choose the valid thing. If it is not valid UPI, and you can say that it would be a fraud. Second, if you were to also transfer the funds through banking channels like IMPS or RTGS, and that means you are not using UPI, still you would be able to check through a new app which is SEBI Check, a new dispensation, where you can put it any bank account IFSC code and it will give you a message whether it is valid or not valid for the purpose of securities market. So what will happen is that whenever before transacting funds, anyone can actually check either of the two. Either you transact through UPI, and in UPI transactions you can do up to 5 lakh rupees, and the rest if you are going to transact more, or in any case if you are choosing any of those channels, you would be able to use this. And these two things we will also put it out as a campaign closer to October 1, so for the people to know these functionalities. So this, I think we will take a systemic, I would say an aggressive systemic campaign against fraud, where people are just cloning apps, cloning accounts, mule accounts, and trying to secure investors' money into accounts which are actually false. So where egregious behavior involving siphoning of shareholder funds, assets, misrepresentation in financials, and breakdown of internal control systems is observed, SEBI does not hesitate to take necessary enforcement action. If any statutory auditor is found to be involved in such frauds, we refer the cases to National Financial Reporting Authority to fix accountability on part of the auditors. Let me come to human skilling and upgradation, which is extremely important. And I think ICAI has done a commendable job there, can potentially do a lot of work in this area. Humans' upskilling and upgradation in technology has to keep pace with frauds that are increasing in sophistication by the day. With respect to the cooperation and capacity building, we have taken following steps. 1. SEBI has signed Memorandum of Understandings with MCA and CBDT to facilitate the exchange of data for the purpose of investigations and enforcement actions. 2. SEBI is also collaborating with National Forensic Science University, Gandhinagar, to conduct joint training programs in the area of digital forensics, forensic accounting, apart from other forensic tools. The analysis of digital devices carried out at the digital forensics labs of NFSU is as admissible as evidence in legal proceedings. 3. The National Institute of Securities Market, NISM, has developed a 2-level course on forensic accounting, fraud risk management, investigative techniques, and evidence handling. The course is open to professionals in the fields of law enforcement, accountancy, and data analytics. NISM and ICAI must work together to keep this course contemporary. 4. SEBI and ICAI have also been actively collaborating on matters of mutual importance. SEBI is represented on 5 boards of ICAI that shape accounting and financial reporting standards, while ICAI members contribute to SEBI's primary market advisory committees. ICAI has also been conducting specialized trainings for SEBI officials on forensic techniques, digital assurance, and fraud risk mitigation to enhance regulatory capabilities. ICAI is also working on developing an actionable framework towards preventing financial fraud in the securities market. Mr. Nanda referred to that. We welcome this initiative and look forward to the outcome. Let me come to a few ideas about investor awareness and education. As you know, the securities market are changing rapidly and investors have to keep pace with this change. Towards this end, our role in empowering investors through awareness and education is very crucial. To enhance the awareness about securities markets, SEBI has been conducting training programs for law enforcement agencies on its role, functions, and jurisdiction. Interactive sessions have been held with officials from CBI, FIU, SFIO, and NCRB, focusing on SEBI's initiatives to keep a check on market frauds and digital scams. We have recently launched a joint media campaign with all the MIIs. This unified campaign aims to strengthen investor protection and combat financial frauds and scams within the securities market. The campaign will focus on raising awareness on red flags, verification protocols, trusted redressal mechanisms, and good digital practices. The first tranche of this campaign on the theme of SEBI versus Scam is ongoing. I welcome ICAI to also join hands with SEBI on investor awareness and education. Let me have some concluding thoughts before you. I recently came across a fascinating case where a forensic tool used by the Income Tax Department detected tax evasion based on the font used in the document. The tool and the human insight together made the connection that the font did not even exist on the date mentioned in the document. This example illustrates that while technology can reveal fraudulent patterns, it's the human mind that interprets context, applies practical understanding, and ultimately exposes fraud. As professionals responsible for upholding the integrity of India's financial systems, you are that human element. It's your vigilance, your courage to ask difficult questions, and your refusal to look away that will ensure our markets continue to command global trust. The future of financial governance will be determined by our collective ability to anticipate risks and detect anomalies early on. Forensic accounting should not be treated as a post-fraud tool only. Rather, it needs to evolve into a proactive discipline embedded within the structure of corporate controls. SEBI has consistently demonstrated its commitment to strengthen market integrity, enhancing disclosure standards, and using technology to uncover complex financial frauds. But regulations alone are not enough. They must be supported by competence, vigilance, and professional integrity. So as we move towards Viksit Bharat at 47, the collective wisdom and coordination of all stakeholders will be critical in aligning India with global benchmarks. Let us continue to strengthen our dialogues and ensure that our systems are not only driven by rules and standards, but by a shared purpose of integrity, trust, and long-term value creation. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We are truly honored by your presence and grateful for the wisdom you've shared with us today. I now request